Hi and welcome to a new tutorial. Today is not a model, actually it's just an exercise that you get to know the topic of Booleans in Maya and how it works and when to use and what you should be aware of when using it. Okay? So what is Booleans actually and where do I find that? Booleans are actually mathematical operations and you find that here in mesh Booleans. And the three options we have is to union two objects, to difference one from each other, or to intersect them. We just try on these objects what's happening. When I do a union, you see I get a line along here, and actually when I go to the 3 mode, I see that this is connected. I just switched the wireframe on shaded off. And well, not too bad, but you see the geometry is quite ugly, and of course I will tell you later on something more about the topic of what happens when the geometry is like this and how you can reduce this kind of problems. The next thing is a difference, and there it depends on which object you have selected first, because when I select it the other way around, difference, of course, this is cut out of, so the second thing is cut out of the first selection. So just do it again, difference. So you see, quite ugly corner, but just that you see what happens. And the last one, here it is, doesn't matter which one you select first. And the intersection, oh, doesn't work. Well, it's one of the problems in, oh, I think I have 2 cubes here, sorry, my fault. Now it should work. Yes, but not perfect, because actually it should have deleted that one, and that should be the actual result. And you see, we have the same problems. So these are the 3 topics we have, and I just switch wireframe here on again that you see why this is important. Because when you do some Booleans, it is important that both of the geometries have a similar density of subdivisions. Because when I do this, for example, when I have no subdivisions here and high subdivisions on the sphere, and I do a difference, you see it works, yes, but in the 3 mode it's absolutely yeah, oops, you can't use it actually. This is ugly geometry, and there you would have to insert a lot of geometry, so just don't do this. What you should do instead is to try to do as low subdivisions as necessary, but of course you have to do subdivisions. So when I do, for example, a 5 to 5 subdivision, and you see that here on the sphere I have still doubled of subdivisions, so it would be advisable that you also reduce your subdivisions here on this object, okay? And so this looks similar, and this is the way geometry should be to be used in a good way. So when I do a union here, a difference, of course the geometry is still, switch off the wireframe again, we have to rework it, okay? But if we have lower subdivisions, we don't have so much work in reworking. Okay, but the rework we will do on this object. This is our exercise, no, the two of them. And there you try the following thing. And there you do all the rework that you get to used to it and to feel confident. Of course, I prepared here everything for you, so the number of subdivisions is already given. I tried to do good positioning that here, for example, the edge loops are near to others. And here on the top, you see I have here as much lines coming here from the top, and they are going here in this part. And also here I tried, you see that? It's not perfectly fitting each other, but it's near to each other. And this will help us later on in reworking this geometry. So just be aware of that. So the first thing that we will do is we union these two. And for that, go to Booleans union. Let's see what the options do. Actually, yeah, nothing special. So just leave it, apply and close. So now you see, not cool. And actually we just rework one side and then copy it to the other. So we won't do the doubled work. What you do is actually we try to keep the forms as good as possible, and we have to get rid of some of the extra vertices and or insert extra edge loops. Not edge loops, just extra geometry if we need it. Here in this case I try in the beginning with the Untitled Welds tool here and try to connect the vertices here from this cylindrical shape to the other. So I'm trying to connect that with that and then connect that one. Okay, don't move, for example, that point to another. This would destroy your geometry. So try to, I'm just going here around and see what could be connected. And maybe I will connect this later on. I'll just see how the geometry will work. And here, for example, I don't have a point to connect, so I switch here to the multi-cut tool and combine that point to that one. Okay? These two, there were two actually, but if they are lying perfectly over each other, they are already connected, so I don't have to do here anything. And then I switch back to my Untitled Weld tool, and here I try to reconnect where it will make sense. So I also connect that one. Or should I connect this to the top? Where? How did I do that? No. I did this and then connect that to that. And now I have a look here in my 3 mode and see, yeah, this is not cool here. So what do we need to get better geometry? For example, we have an edge loop here that is then here going out there, and it would be better if the edge loop goes right around here. So I go to my multi-cut tool and just do a manual edge loop. Okay, and then oops, I get rid of this edge here and this one, and I just saw here it would be better if I connect with the Untitled Welds tool. Go to vertex mode again. Yeah, this one here. This would be cool. And if you have somewhere vertices which have no Yeah, so much better. Which have no connection, then just delete them. And I now have the possibility where to connect this to the upper or to the lower point. Depends on you. I just connect it to the upper one because it's nearer. And let's see how it looks like. Not too bad. Way better than that. It doesn't have to look the exactly same way like I have it, but it should look good. Okay, I want to do the work on the other side, so I just switch here to my, of course I could do the other booleans first, but to train it, delete half of the object and go to mesh mirror, and we need plus, and don't forget to change here to bounding box. Good. Mirrored and looks good on the other side. So, and the other boolean that we do is the first you select the big stuff and then the cylinder, because we will do a difference. And always you should save your scene before you do booleans, because Maya loves to crash while doing booleans. So save your scene. And what happens? Let's see. The booleans work fine, but of course we have to do some reworking. Be aware where this is the only point that is connected, because it worked perfectly over each other. And now we will do the target welding again. So zoom in a little bit. So go to vertex mode. So I connect that one to that, and here to here. And I will also connect that one down. Maybe if they're really close to each other, these points, I could also just do a merge to connect them, but I'm not sure if the problem is it merges in the middle of these, and I'm not sure if this point shouldn't move. So to do it perfect, go to Target Weld tool, and with the F key you could focus, and you see here my camera is cutting the geometry, and what will help is you go to View, select Camera, and open up the attributes, and here you have a near clip plane. This is when here this is cutting, and when I set the near clip plane, for example, to 0.001, I can zoom in a little bit better and it won't cut. Okay, so switch this off. Go back to my target weld and connect these points to that. Here, let's see, it's lying over each other. This was perfectly connected. That's cool. And well, if you want to have some harder shapes or harder edges, then let's try to insert some edge loops, but I guess they won't work like we want them to work. Okay, and we have to do some manual stuff, but I just go into my insert edge loop again, and relative distance from edge, and I just want one and not 10 of them, because I will set an edge loop here and here and here and here at the back. And then I try some manual connection here, here, and to go here. Then with touched weld I connect, no, I do it with the Boolean because I want the connection in the middle. No, I stay to the touched weld and I think it's better. And see how it looks like. Yeah, that's cool. Do it also on the back side or mirror your object. It depends on which way is faster for you. I find this quite fast already. Touched weld. Oops. Not too bad. And I also insert here an edge loop and here so I have a nice model actually. Good. And the last thing, of course, just wanted to mention, here we have now a quad because there was a triangle before, so don't mind about that this is not connected because this is a quad, so everything's fine. Good. And here, of course, as you learned in the beginning of the tutorial, you could cut high subdivided objects out of non-subdivided objects. I'm just showing you the difference. So you get a hole here somewhere. The problem is, yeah, in the free mode it's completely crashing and you can't actually insert any divisions. So you can't rework that kind of geometry, so just don't do that. So what you have to do here is, of course, find a good way of setting the subdivisions here. So I'm just trying to give here some subdivisions that I might, I take 10 here in both directions. Don't subdivide in this direction. And to make my rework easier, it is good when you set maybe to, when I have here, now maybe even 8 or 12 or 6. 6 is the absolute minimum when you want to have a whole round somewhere. I take 8. And of course you can reposition your cylinder a little bit. I switch here the wireframe unshaded on again so that I can see where the geometry could connect in a good way. And because you see that here and here, when I have this near to each other, you could also snap with the, you see here, I press C and V on the keyboard, and this is switching between point snapping or curve snapping, and I need point snapping. And when I snap to one of the points, so it actually is then perfectly placed, and these are already connected somewhere. What I also do is, you could, just for easier reworking, scale it a little bit, so that here this one and this one here is near to each other, or there's just a near distance to that. And this is a good base for be sure that it's cutting through the other side, okay? Or you just put it somewhere inside. It's also a possibility, as you like. Good. And when we do a difference here, of course we have our hole. When we are in the 3 mode, it's not perfect because we have to do some reworking. And the first thing you see, of course, here it is perfectly connected. If it's not, then you have a little bit of touched welding work. And otherwise, I just go here to the multi-cut tool and insert 4 more edge loops. And actually, what will create an even perfect geometry is when I try to move the points in the same distance. So I take here now the 4 and scale them. So I have a nice perfectly edge loop around this, and see what's happening. I have, of course, I need to do it on the other side again, or mirror it. It's the same. So do some, the connection part is the most important one, and the other is just for better geometry forming, so that the hole is really round. So push this a little bit inward, this one a little bit outward. So here we go. This is the way how a Boolean hole should look like in the end. So just switch off my rougher and unshaded again. So now these 2 objects are the exercise for you, that you do a good rework and Boolean connection, and then I'm happy.